Okay, let's jump right into this explainer and demystify the whole process of map making. We're going to build a highly effective map from the ground up today. And, we're actually going to treat it exactly like building a house. It's not just, throwing some random lines and colors onto a page. No way. It's a really deliberate architectural process. It requires a rock-solid foundation, a clear blueprint, and of course, some really thoughtful interior design.
So here is our blueprint for today. We'll look at maps as data interfaces, choosing your map type, essential map components, the map design process, and finally, communicating clearly. We're taking you straight from abstract concepts all the way to mastering how you actually communicate complex geographic data to your audience.
All right, part one, maps as data interfaces. Let's lay down that foundation. Before we even touch a single piece of data, we need to totally redefine how we think about map making in the first place. I mean, what exactly is a map? It's so easy to just picture it as a simple drawing of places, right? Just a static picture of roads, maybe some rivers, a few borders. But I really want us to look at this through a completely different lens today.
Here's the deal. A map is actually an abstraction of reality. You aren't just sketching a picture, you're literally designing a spatial user interface, a UI/UX experience for your data. You're building a tool to help your readers spatially wrap their heads around a specific theme or subject, just scaled down.
And this is where metadata comes in. Think of metadata as the narrator of your map story. When you include it, that summary of your spatial data and where it came from, it totally transforms dry statistics into a really engaging narrative. It basically gives your map a voice, telling the user, hey, here's where this info came from, and here's exactly why you can trust it. Moving right along to section 2, choosing your map type. So we've got our foundation poured. Now it's time to pick the right structural frame for all this information. You've got to choose your structure really carefully right out of the gate. You have to ask yourself, are we building a reference map here? Meaning, is the goal just to show people physically where things are, like roads and borders? Or are we building a thematic map? That's where those physical base layers kind of fade into the background so you can highlight a hidden relationship or distribution within one specific piece of data.
If you decide to go the thematic map route, well, you've got a massive toolbox at your disposal. Definitely don't get stuck just using one style for everything. Like a choropleth map with that really nice deep sheeting, absolutely fantastic for population data. Or climate maps, which are perfect for showing vivid temperature shifts. You can even use bar graphs to map out numerical changes dynamically. It's all about selecting the exact right tool to bring your unique data to life.
Okay, now for a crucial warning, and this is a structural compromise you just have to accept. Our Earth is a sphere, right? But maps are mostly flat. Whether you decide to preserve area, direction, or scale, flattening a curved surface always, and I mean always, adds distortion. If you just ignore your map projection, you're absolutely going to distort your data and end up misleading your audience. All right, on to section 3, essential map components. We've got our map type, our projection is set, so now let's build out the core elements that actually hold this whole thing together. Listen, these 3 elements right here, they are your absolute non-negotiables. First, the data frame. That's the core area actually displaying your geographic layers. Then, your title, which instantly tells the reader your intention so they aren't just sitting there guessing. And third, the legend. That's essentially the decoder ring for all your map symbols. Without these 3 foundational pieces, the house just completely collapses, and your map becomes totally unreadable. Now, the neat line. I actually love this concept because it acts exactly like the exterior walls of our house analogy. It's a solid border that visually contains everything. It literally keeps your reader's eyeballs glued faithfully inside the map's container, which really provides a nice sense of harmony to the whole layout. Then we have the inset map. Think of this like handing your reader a magnifying glass or maybe a wide-angle lens. Say you're mapping out this tiny, specific county, an inset map that shows the whole state gives them that essential geographic context. Or, it works the other way too. It can zoom way in on a really cluttered, detailed part of your main map. To top off our structure, adding these finishing elements makes the whole thing super robust. A scale bar, so readers can actually measure distance. A north arrow to instantly orient them. Metadata and citations to show your data sources and dates, which, by the way, keeps you legally covered. And gradicules, those handy little guiding lines for latitude and longitude. Which brings us to section 4, the map design process. The structure is up, the walls are all in place. So let's step inside and move on to the interior design phase. We want to make this thing functional, intuitive, and honestly, genuinely beautiful. These are your 4 primary design principles, and they totally dictate the visual layering of your map. Legibility and contrast give us the absolute baseline for actually seeing the content. Then, visual hierarchy and figure ground organization tell the user's eye exactly where to look first, then second, then third. Finally, proportion and harmony ensure the entire layout just feels balanced and aesthetically pleasing.
But here's the catch. You can't just throw paint at the walls and cross your fingers that it looks good. Concept before compilation. If you don't deeply understand what your user actually needs from this map, literally every design choice you make after that is going to fail. You have to nail down the concept first. Absolutely crucial.
Okay, this right here might be my absolute favorite piece of advice from cartography experts. Simplicity from sacrifice. A map isn't finished when you run out of things to add. It's finished when you can't take anything else away. You have to be ruthless. Filtering out unnecessary features is what keeps your map from turning into a frustrating game of Where's Waldo? And hey, even your font choices can totally make or break the aesthetic. I mean, there is a very good reason Comic Sans is a universal laughingstock in the design world, right? You want to use proper contrast. Curve your labels naturally along the rivers. Italicize your water features in a nice blue. And please, use text halos. It completely stops your words from crashing into all that background data.
Finally, Section 5. Communicating clearly. Our map is completely built and beautifully designed. Now, it's time to actually invite people in to use it. And that means we have to dodge some really common communication traps.
Look, if you try to say too much, you almost always end up saying nothing at all. When viewers get hit with a wall of data, they just shut down. So figure out your 1 or 2 key data points. Establish a single crystal clear message and literally cut the rest out. Keep the whole thing visually clean, and please, for the love of maps, do not forget to include your legend. Always remember this. You have to engage the emotion to engage the understanding. It's only when a reader emotionally connects with the aesthetics and the actual story of your data that they really absorb what you're saying. Really good design creates this wonderful tension between the raw facts and your intent as the designer, using beauty to guide the viewer's attention exactly where it belongs. So think about the last map you looked at. What was it secretly trying to make you feel or focus on? The next time you open a map, whether that's on your phone or watching the news, I really want you to dissect it. Look right past the basic geography and try to uncover those hidden design choices. Find the visual hierarchy and those intentional sacrifices we talked about that are secretly guiding your eyes and your emotions. What story is that map actually telling you? Ponder that, keep exploring, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.